Hello, welcome to Matt is Reading. Today we are talking about Words of Radiance, which is book 2 of the Stormlight Archives. I'm trying to do something a little bit different because when I read through The Way of Kings and then tried to do one video on at the end, it was just way too much to talk about in a single video. So what I'm trying to do today and moving forward is I'm going to go through, at least for the Stormlight Archives, I'm actually going to do a video for each part, kind of give a little bit of a recap what stood out to me for each of the parts, and then give some predictions and just thoughts on what's going to be happening as I'm going through. So I will say Words of Radiance, I have been told it's a lot of people's favorite book in the series so far. My complaints with The Way of Kings, not really complaints, but it was just a slower book in terms of it was a lot of world building, a lot of character building. It really dove in on Kaladin. And I was kind of ready to see more of the world. There were so many questions that I had that weren't answered or didn't even really get too deep into for the first book. And then here in the prologue, we start right with Jasna. She was right there when Gavilar was killed. It's also the first time she visits Shadesmar. It was a great prologue, and a lot of my complaints from the first book were immediately mitigated with the world building, the magic system building that you see happening already in the second book. So I'm very excited. It looks like we're going to spend a lot more time with Shallan in this book, or Shallan and Jasna in this book, and that's what I kind of was really looking forward to. I think both of those characters are my favorites in the series. I would say Kaladin, Jasna, Shallan, and Dalinar, probably in that order, are my favorite so far. So yeah, a lot of world building I could see already in this book. Going through part 1 is we're going to see a lot more of the world. It's not going to be so focused on the Shattered Plains and Kaladin's upbringing, but we're going to get an expansion of the world, and I'm really looking forward to that. Map in the book, the front cover of the book, is completely unexplored, not completely, but mostly unexplored. I'm really excited to get into the rest of the world that we have. So in the first book, or in part 1 of this book, I should say, we see Shallan, who kind of gets bonded to her spren, which is called the Pattern. They have a really interesting relationship. It's almost like when Kaladin met Syl, they kind of just got along very well right from the beginning. It seemed like he didn't seem like overly intimidated by her or afraid of her. Shallan like has no idea what to do with the Pattern. So, and I like the Pattern. He's definitely much different than Syl, which kind of makes me think that each of these spren that these people are going to be bonded to are going to have very different characteristics, and I'm excited to meet some of my favorite characters spren that they get bonded to. Pattern, very interesting. So we see in the first part, Dalinar, he's continuing to have these visions during the high storms, and Navani, she's writing down everything that he says during that time. I think a lot of it we find out is written in, or he's speaking in Dawn chant. So it's very like old language that he's giving these visions in, which is very cool. And we find out early on that there's this countdown to something. I'll talk about later what I think that countdown might be to, but he's also still getting these visions of uniting people, uniting what he thinks is uniting the Alethi High Princes. What I actually think that is going to be happening is that he is going to be told to unite what I think is going to be the whole kingdom. So I think we're going to, in this book, get an expansion of the kingdom, and Dalinar is going to realize that I need to be uniting all people, not just Alethi, not just Alethkar, but I am going to be uniting all of the kingdoms together. So we'll see if that comes true or not, but I'm excited about that. We also, in part 1, are getting a lot more of Kaladin and what he's capable of. He's learning a lot about the powers that he has, and we see some of the things that Stormlight causes him to do. I think at one point in the first book, and he is getting a tattoo, and the tattoo doesn't even like take to his skin because of the stormlight that's in him. So some interesting things that we learn about. And Amaranth comes back in right at the end of part 1, which is really interesting. Jasna also dies. I mean, very like this book kicked off in an exciting way. Part one was very fast paced, and I really liked part one so far. So thoughts, I don't think that Jasna's dead. I don't know who has said it, but I always see in these fantasy books, if you don't see a body, the person's not dead. So ain't no way Jasna's dead. If I had to predict some people that might be dying, I don't know. I could see Navani dying, because Sanderson's always killing people that are good characters. And I kind of like it for that, because I'm always on my toes of who am I going to really get invested in, and then is just going to die off in the story. So I could see Navani dying, maybe not in this book, but I think we're going to get a lot more of the relationship of her and Dalinar, and then I could see Navani eventually dying. Not maybe in this book, but Jasna's not dead. No way. I think she's got way too much that she's going to be doing throughout the rest of the series. And some other predictions I have, I mean, Adolin, he's going to be fighting in duels with a lot of the High Princes, the Shard Bearers of the High Princes. And I think that he's going to just be a total beast. I think that we're going to see Adolin really come into his own as a fighter. Do I think that Adolin is a Knights Radiant? I'm not sure. I could see him being a Knights Radiant, but I could also see him not being a Knights Radiant and just being a really good Shard Bearer. Which he already is, and I think we're going to see more of that through them. Another thing I had, like I said, I think that unite them. I think Dalinar is going to be more focused on the whole kingdom of Roshar, or the whole world of Roshar, rather than just on the Alethi kingdom. And I don't know. I'm excited to see where the rest of the book goes. Like I said, I think these are going to be shorter videos, but I'm looking forward to doing some shorter ones to allow me to digest it quicker, get them out quicker, and not have to wait till the end of the book and then figure out how am I going to talk about this 1,000-page book all in one sitting. So shorter video today, working through the rest of the book. Very excited to where this goes. I could already see that I'm going to like this one more than, what was it? Than the Way of Kings. Jeez. I'm going to like it more than the Way of Kings, and I already love the Way of Kings, so I'm excited to see where the rest of this book goes. And we'll see you in the next video. Leave your comments on some of your predictions through part one, and we will catch you on the next one. This is Matt is Reading. You can always follow me as well on Peloton at Matt is Sweaty. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.